What's good, guys? Charles here from Team Suji, coming to you guys with a post-commentary duel video. And right here, this is Tenyi Swordsoul versus Mitisurugi Ryzeal. Please remember, if you guys, this is locals, we're all learning. There's definitely a lot of like stressful situations, which is the entire point of going to locals and testing, that sometimes you might not know what to do, cards, etc. But we lose the die roll here, and we're starting out with a bonfire here, going through the Mitisurugi cards. I have one imperm in my hand, and I don't think one imperm is going to do much. I know this is, as soon as I see it's Ryzeal, I'm like, all right, well, if it's Ryzeal, we hold imperm for duo drive, right? That's that's exactly what we're going to do. But then we get, that's like the beauty of the whole Mitisurugi and the Ryzeal stuff, right? Is that you use one engine inside the engine to bait hand traps, and you just pivot into the other, because essentially they're like, Ryzeal's so free. Ryzeal just kind of annoys me, man. Out of like both Malice and Ryzeal, I prefer Malice over, because I think Ryzeal's like less restrictive, and like it's insane that Detonator is like the strongest rank 4 out there. Like Trident and Broad Bull are banned, but Ryzeal Detonator is allowed to exist. Like, come on, man. Like that's insane. And like no rank 4, like just 2 level 4s, and you have like this crazy 3000 attack, double pop, can protect things from being destroyed by battle. Like, that's redonkulous. So Ryzeal is definitely like a little bit of bias here. I definitely do not like Ryzeal, but he's going to start something out. Sword's going to go ahead and grab him. I think he goes for ice, maybe? Yes, he goes for ice. Sweet. I'm not too familiar with the Mitisurugi names, to be honest with you, so I will just do my best to describe them here. But yeah, our hand's pretty good. I kind of wish we were going first. It would have been pretty nice. This is like the Blue Eye Structure Deck tournament, which if you guys don't know what that means, it means that, you know, the Structure Deck where you just have the Structure Deck going on. Like, people can play the Structure Decks. You can play the prize is the mat, essentially, from the Structure Decks that, you know, Revanda, etc. So we ended up going here. He goes into Feral Imps. And arguably, I wonder if, like, maybe if I would have flung Imperm here, if this would have been smart. But I don't think it would have been, because I know he has Ice in his hand, so I fling Imperm here, stop this. Look in his hand, he has Talents. It looks like maybe it would have been smart, because then Ice has to send the Feral Imps. This is going to let him add, like, you know, this allows him to go into his ritual stuff. Like, maybe that was the correct line of play to do. I did see an Ash in his hand, which is just kind of like, since this is from today as of recording and commentating, like, I know what's like coming. So like, it's just kind of like one of those hands where it's like, almost like a great hand he has. It looks like, I'm trying to see here. So he attempts to ritual here, but I don't think he can. I think he misread it wrong. So he's like, oh, I can't actually do that. But again, locals, just so you guys know, locals learning and stuff like that, it's no big deal. At least to me, there's like some things, like if you like overcommit to something, or you like really commit to something, I'm like, all right, hey, listen, you can't take that back. But also, like, there's like, I hold myself to like a higher standard, I guess, in like some sense, like where if I activate something and I do my very best not to take it back in a way, and like if I get like held accountable for it, like I'm like, yep, that's how it is, you know. Gotta get better. Those type of mistakes get you to be a little bit better, in my opinion. Once you like make those mistakes, you gotta learn from them, you know what I mean? But anyway, we see the Eclipse get summoned here. Then we're going to see Ice sending Eclipse. Eclipse is going to be able to summon back the Feral Imps and get another search, which is a pretty cool play here. That's pretty cool in my opinion. I kind of like these decks. Like, if it was me playing Mitisurugi, I'd be playing with Ogdadics, even though I know Ogdadics get like honed by like Shifter and stuff like that. But like, it's kind of cool that these two decks flesh together so well, and it's not like super like clunky in a way. But anyway, Feral Imp's going to detach, going to search out the Ritual spell here, or Ritual Monster, excuse me, which is pretty crazy, which I should have thought about here. Again, like, I don't know, I have one Imperm, and I didn't know how the Mitisurugi lines work, so it's like, arguably, maybe if I would have threw the Imperm here, we would have been sitting pretty good, because then he would just would have had Ash, and he wouldn't be able to tribute the cards, which allowed him to get, like, more cards and stuff. So, hindsight on the post-commentary is always 20/20, you know what I mean? So, like, I'm able to see these plays now. It looks like I opened like Long One and something else. He's going to attempt to... This ritual's insane, man. This ritual's like pretty wild. It looks like I see Ashuna, Long One, Flawless, Imperm, and one other unknown in my hand here. But it's really cool to see Konami like giving rituals some love. Eventually we'll be getting some like Necro support, and that support should be coming. I do think he misses a trigger here, I think, or does he remember it? It looks like it's Knight and Serpent. Yeah, okay, so he remembers them. Okay, good. So he's able to bring out the Knight and Serpent, which is going to be able to bridge him into Duo Drive, and then, of course, like, that's going to be able to search him, or add back, I think, the Ritual. Then he can overlay here for Duo Drive. I think that's the way. No, he's going to attempt to Ritual from deck, I think. Yeah, so he's going to ritual from deck to be able to summon ritual. Yeah, ritual from the deck. So he's going to summon out the big kahuna here. I don't. This is like the negate, but it forces you to discard, which is like so cool. At the same time, it's so like it's ant in a way. You know what I mean? Because I shouldn't say it's ant because the card's kind of insane. But then once it's tributed, it comes back and nukes the field. But then since like this other Mitisurugi ritual was like tributed, it gets to come back as well. So his board's kind of full here. I believe he's locked into 4s yet. I don't think, maybe not. I don't think he's done anything to lock him in. But we're going to see the Nine-Inch Serpent, and I think Ice get like moved over. I hope that we see the Mitisurugi next wave of support be like pretty bomb. And then eventually, you know, like Ryzeal is going to have to get addressed sometime, man, because the deck's just too good. Too good. So like maybe like when the Ryzeal stuff gets hit, we'll see like more Ogdatic and the ritual stuff can do stuff. But anyway, we see the Imperm going to probably smack down on Duo Drive here. Duo Drive's effect to go ahead and attach. And then we'll just see him try to go ahead and fire off Duo Drive effect here. And then I'm just going to fling an Imperm here. And this is where he can chain the big giant ritual to make me either discard, which I'm going to get start Ashna, which benefits me. I had to go ahead and get Ashna. I think it was double Ashna. Yeah, I see a second Ashna in my hand. So that was my hand. It was Imperm, Ashna, Ashna, Flawless, Longwan. So looks like we're going to see him set. Dang it. I think I see Ash, Imperm, and Tactics in his hand. That's one of my biggest complaints about like Ryzeal in a way, is that the deck can literally play so many hand traps. And arguably, like I've been testing Blue Eyes a little bit too. Blue Eyes is kind of in the same thing. But like I feel like Blue Eyes setting up like Spirit plus like Spears is like not as oppressive as like a Pop 3 Detonator with Cross Up. You know what I mean? And a handful of hand traps. But anyway, I guess that could be also biased because, like I just said earlier, like Ryzeal gives me the heebie-jeebies. So anyway, we're just reading this one here. I got to make sure. So I was like, oh, does it negate and destroy? Or does it resolve negated? I was just trying to see here. So like, trying to think what that's the cool thing about Swordsoul Tenyi, dude, is like the guys and dudes and dudettes, whoever's watching, like you can like maneuver through boards pretty well. Like even here, as you're going to watch, I think I play this almost as perfect to my capabilities, and you guys will see like what I mean here. So we attempt to go long one here, right? He attempts to negate it, unless I discard Flawless. So you just, Flawless is okay discarding because, you know, Tenyifinity can grab it back. We go ahead and get here. This guy's going to be able to Monster Reborn back since I special summon, and that's okay. Like I was thinking, there's nothing in his graveyard he could bring back that will cause me an issue. Like as far as I'm concerned, I have to maybe play through a set Imperm, a set the counter trap Mitisurugi, which is kind of rough. But what I didn't account for was the quick play, which is a Book of Moon, or not a Book of Moon, a giant, like the quick play tributes, and then if that big guy's tribute, he comes back and nukes the entire board. So I attempt to fire off the Ashna here. And I just like thinking, I was like, okay, if Ashna can go into the level 4, I can go into Mula. Mula can grab me into Tenyifinity. Tenyifinity can grab me Cycle or Circle, and then I can use Tenyifinity to start popping things. I've not normal summoned yet. So we're going to do this, and then he's going to chain the quick play to tribute the big ritual to just go ahead, and I believe it lets him add, which is really cool, which is, again, I really do like the Mitisurugi stuff. I think the Mitisurugi is like puns on the Heavenly Swords of the Gods, like Susanoo and stuff like that. It was like at least what I like when I was deep diving and researching the deck. Like that's what I discovered. And that's such a cool aesthetic. Like these guys are all like the swords of the gods in like Chinese mythology, which are like pretty cool. So he's going to search out another copy of it, but this guy gets to come back, which is pretty cool. And this makes this deck so resilient to Nib too, because like it's just crazy, man. So we summon Adhar here because since I know that the nuke is coming, I don't go for the level 4, right? So there's like no point. So I go for this because I know that the Adhara can at least add me back the Ashna later in the turn here. So I have one card left in hand. I'm thinking, I was like, okay, like I think maybe I can push through this a little bit more here. As long as, like, if I can resolve this, I should be okay. So I go and activate Emergence. Emergence would grab me, like, what's his name, man? I forget him. Dude, I'm drawing a blank. Not Moyi, the other one. Taya. There we go. It grabbed me Taya, but he ashes it. Yeah, wow. And that's just, that's kind of infuriating, man. Like, Ash just, like, being, like, the last card in hand. It happens to us all. So I get to go first here, and, like, side deck-wise, you know, cross out went in. and some other like hand traps I was scared of. But like I'm looking in my hand, I see Nib floating around, and this is like where I was testing out how many like Nibs I need to side in. Like, do I do double the hand traps? Do I decide in just one of each and just hope? And I drew like the one of Nib. Given I did not see cross out in this hand either, so like the one of Nib is just sitting there hoping. So I'm just trying to contemplate, walk through my lines, because like again, I was trying to think. I was like, dang, what are the attributes of the Mitsurugi? So like, are they dark? And I was like, I think they're dark, but I know that the Ryzeal is fire and light. So like, as long as I can keep them off of one side of the engine, the Swordsoul stuff should be able to keep them off the other side. So we go ahead and normal summon Ecclesia, which again, like my hand's kind of weak, so like it's really the double Ecclesia. I've had such a hate relationship with this card, man. Like I love to see it, but I always see it in 2, or I see it when I'm going first when it's only starter, and I just know that I'm going to lose to an Ash Blossom. But we end up specialing something out the Moyi, revealing the Vishu to give me a token, and this is like, we're kind of like off to the races here. So like right here, I have the ability to go right into Mula to grab me something, or I can go into Qishao, but I don't know if like Qishao is the correct one. I go into Qishao, okay. Yep, so Qishao, Chainlink 1, Moyi Chainlink 2 to draw. Draw into Ash Blossom, that's a pretty good draw. And then we're going to go ahead and search out the, I can't think of its name, the Emergence. Yeah, we search out Emergence, because Emergence can grab me into Protos. But like again, I'm just trying, like I feel like when you just kind of got to send it sometimes, you know what I mean? Like I'm looking at my hand, like I got it, my hand really didn't beat Nibiru, but my hand, like knowing that he's playing Ryzeal and like Mitsurugi Ryzeal, like I know I can't just pass on Qishao Blackout, like I have to push into something, and if he has Nib, he has it. It's the way it goes. Like maybe I can kind of get to a point, like maybe he'll Nib like later when like I can get kind of set up and maybe like get Nibbed, scavenge into a Mula, or like scavenge into like a Qishao, my second Qishao after the Nib. But something people need to remember, man, Tenyi Infinity being able to set a flawless makes that a Nib token unaffected by monster effects, which means you have almost a pretty big unmovable token, which is pretty good here. So I think we search out Longwan, because I have Emergence in hand. So again, like I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do this, like because again, like you got to send it against both these decks. Like these decks are like crazy, since all the Ryzeals literally just summon themselves inherently. Like it's really difficult to stop. I need to get to like Sinister Longwan, so that way I can banish possibly, like I said, his ritual spell to keep that out of rotation, to be able to banish the, like maybe Duo Drive when he summons it. Since I'm probably going to call Dark with the Protos, I'm going to be able to, cover the Mitsurugi side. Like, he shouldn't be able to summon any of the Mitsurugis, so that means everything else has to be here. So we go ahead and summon out Longwan. Go ahead and banish Ashin to go ahead and summon out. I think we go for the level 4 Shithana. Yep, we go for Shithana, because we're going to go into Mula to grab me the field spell, because like I said, don't forget, not only does the Flawless protect your non-effect monsters, but also a draw 2. So like through a Nibiru, you can potentially get to something else, but you have the Nib token, and then you're going to be able, Nib token's unaffected, you get to draw 2, which we don't play a lot of non-engine, but we can draw into like some of our other non-engine, and draw into like more stuff to like push through, because I feel like this deck has a phenomenal time going second in certain hands and stuff like that, just having access to like board breaking potential with like Vishuda and Boxy and stuff. But we're going to add Tenyi Infinity to go ahead and add the Vessel. Vessel is going to be able to dump and add, because I can transform Mula here into just a monk, which is kind of insane. I just kind of imagine like Super Saiyan, right? So like we just, we want to put Super Saiyan, now we're just going to go back down to normal old wannabe Bruce Lee here. And the monk, which then I can fire off Vessel to dump and add. So that's a big thought here. Like I'm thinking, I was like, okay, can I dump Protos, add something? I can dump Protos, add Adhara. Protos effect, banish target the Longwan, use Adhara, add back, special out that. But then my inboard's like my inboard is just Qishao plus Protos, but I want more than that. So I got to kind of think about the correct line here. Like, do I send, like, I want to get access to Protos. And I think I do. I think the line, I do the correct line here. The line is send the Protos, add the Saruya. Then I can special Saruya. Yeah, you guys will see. You guys will see what's happening. We're cooking here. We're cooking. I mean, if he has Nib, he has Nib. It is what it is, right? We're going ahead. Now we just got to do what we can. I have Ash Nibiru. Plus, I would have a pretty good okay follow-up through a Nibiru here. It just kind of sucks that, like, I'd lose all this. So we go Chainlink 1 to go ahead and burn. Chainlink 2 to special summon out. We go and special summon out the Shaman. And we summon out Sinister Longwan. So that means now I can check. Now I'm going to get access to Protos, and I'm going to be able to check his Ryzeal side. So we go ahead and summon out Protos. by discarding for the Shaman. Remember, Shaman only says monsters from the extra deck can only activate their effects of the Tenyis. We'll go ahead and use Protos called Dark, and in phase we'll go ahead and resolve the Tenyifinity here to be able to go ahead and place that Flawless Perfection into our field spell zone, making our Monk unaffected by the opponent's monster effects, but also making you draw 2 in every special summons. And not to mention, like, if he tries to go battle phase, the Shaman can pop something. So, like, this Monk, like I said, this wannabe Bruce Lee I was talking about, he's actually pretty good there. And he's just clarifying, you know, he's like, so what am I going to face down? I was like, you know, banish when you special summon, banish when you activate a spell or trap. You can't summon Darks, Imperm, and whatever I have in my hand, essentially. And having this nib made me feel pretty good. Like, even though, like, it's a one of, and I probably shouldn't have saw it. I probably should have saw Cross out instead. So, like, it's pretty, like, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm not going to lie. I have Ash, Nib. Let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's 5 forms of disruption while having him locked out of, like, all the darks. That's pretty crazy. I mean, arguably, I could have also called Light here, and I don't know if the Mitisurugi lines can pivot into Fiendsmith. I'm not entirely sure. But if I would have called Lights, I would have been stuck with this Nib in my hand because I can't summon Lights. So that means, like, if he's able to push through further, like, my Nib can't come out unless he solves the Protos. But I think Protos, actually, maybe you guys in the comment section down below can verify for me. Protos is a lingering effect. That means if it stays on the field, or as long as it resolves, it's like stays till the end of the turn. I think that's how it works. But I've also, like, I swear in the back of my mind, I remember seeing somebody, like, removing the Protos, and once it's gone, like, they're no longer locked. But I also think that I've seen it work both ways. So someone in the comment section down below. But we're going to see Ultimate Slayer come on down. Can't respond with a monster. He's going to go ahead and target the Chi-Shao, sending the Herald to be able to, you know, shuffle back my Chi-Shao. I can't do anything about it with a monster effect, which is okay. This is kind of scary at the first. I'm like, all right, well, as he didn't get rid of Long Wan, which means I just got to hold Long Wan and stuff like that and just hope for the best here. This is like, it's like, okay, you know, board breaker, like Ultimate Slayer, okay, that's 1 card down. Herald's going to search him a ritual. Like I said, I called Dark, so I should have kept him off all of his rituals I think are Dark. So hopefully this, like, you know, Protos keeps him off of it, which means, like, I'm going to be able to, you know, like, as soon as he summons Duo Drive, banish the Duo Drive. If he goes, like, Cross or anything like that, I should be able to banish the Cross. So, like, I'm just hoping he has nothing else and Long Wan, like, holds the line, you know. I kind of thought for a second, that's why I was reading Ultimate Slayer. I was like, could I have, like, just go ahead and use Long Wan to banish Ultimate Slayer? But it just says you cannot respond with monster effects, which are all right here. We're going to go ahead and see, I believe, a normal Shogun here of maybe it's a Ryzeal, I think. See, like, Sinister is such an insane card. I also got to remember that Sinister will draw you a card, too, if you, like, make Sinister first. Normal summon Ice effect to special. I look at my hand. I kind of contemplate Ash on this, though, because I'm like, maybe if I throw Ash here. But I was like, no, I need to hold the Ash because I need to hold Ash for, at the very minimum, Duo Drive. I need to hold it for Duo Drive. So it's like, go ahead and do this. I'll just banish what you search. But then I was like, but even if I banish what he searches, if he summons out X here, or searches out, I think it summons X, X can search out a replacement, and it just feels like useless. So I just decided to go ahead and go Flawless Effect to draw 2. And I just was reading because I was like, I know some of these, like, Ryzeal cards do have, like, subtle little fair things about them. Or it's like, oh, if you use this effect, you're locked into rank 4s. Oh, if you use that, you can only use this effect if you control level 4s. Or if you know, like, this one says, I think you can only, like, you can only use the effect to search if you only control level/rank 4s on the field. So I was just making sure. So I'm thinking here, I'm like, oh man, do I do Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2? So I go ahead and draw into another Ash Blossom and a Moyi, which is pretty good. Seeing double Ash is kind of wild. Like, come on, man. Like, whereas even, like, I would rather have seen Imperm, even though I can't use Imperm. Imperm and Ash would have been, like, the same thing here. But, like, Effect Veiler's in there, too. And now, like, I feel pretty comfortable. Like, even if he cracks my board, I have, like, a decent follow-up at the least, right? So he's looking at his extra deck. I don't know. I mean, he could technically go into Duo Drive. He could potentially... I see him looking at Exciton Knight. And Exciton is... I'm kind of surprised he didn't go to Exciton, actually. Go to Exciton, and he just, like, nuke the board, right? Because that makes you send everything. I can't remember. I think, does Exciton send or destroy? I think it destroys off the top of my head here. Now, if it does destroy, then actually that wouldn't have been... I just would have, you know, used Long Wand to banish the summon. He chains it. I would lose literally Shaman and Sinister, but I'd kept Protoss and the Monk, which is pretty cool. So I don't know if Exciton would have been like a correct line. I don't know what is the correct line for him to go here. I do think that maybe Exciton is the correct line. Exciton below the field. But then I guess that's the issue. The issue is if he goes Exciton and wastes those resources to make Exciton, he doesn't have the... He can't go into Mitsurugi lines because of Protoss, so he's not able to solve Protoss here. So he has to, like, go into a particular different route. Maybe you just go into Detonator. Okay, so this is kind of cool. So I go Detonator effect. So he summons the Detonator. I'm just going to be like, you know what, on the summon, we'll just go ahead and use Long Wand here. And then he can potentially only... He can pop Sinister, he can pop the Shaman. And I think I have Shathana in the graveyard, so I was like, if he pops the Shaman, I can just bring it back, which is no big deal. But we're going to go ahead and pop the... Pop Shaman. Nothing big here. No value has been lost. Just now means he can go battle and attack over. But again, like I said, I think I have Shathana, so like even if he does go battle, we'll be all right. So now, like I said, I know he had some Mitsurugi. He had the Mitsurugi ritual spell, or I think he had a ritual spell, which doesn't do him anything. So I know he's checking some things here, trying to figure out what is the best line. I do, you know, like I said, like I'm glad people are just like read your cards, and that's exactly what my man here is doing, is making sure that he has the proper lines here. But he's going to activate Thrust. Arguably, dude, I think Thrust is one of those cards that should be non-existent. Or like it should something's got to happen, man. I think Thrust being able to grab like these crazy blowout like dimensional barrier is like pretty busted. Like that's kind of like insane to think about. And I know like part of me is like Thrust is fair, man. Like you gotta have, you know, like you can't just, if they have no monsters, you can't activate it. But it's like you could just literally just, you know, like, oh, you ashed me, I want to grab Thrust, grab D barrier, and like you lose now because like you interacted with me, which the game is like designed for you to interact with. But now since you did D barrier, I'm going to call like whatever. Considering if you're playing against Mouse, D barrier does nothing, but you could potentially play, you could do like any other card, right? So he's going to go change a heart here to attempt to take the Protoss. Can't do anything about it. And he does kind of make a misplay here. He decides to call, I believe, Fire, which I don't think is correct. Well, I mean, I don't think he had much. He could only call Dark, Earth, or Fire. Like, and if he called Earth, I'm unaffected. So he could... I already called Dark, so Dark wouldn't do him anything. So like his only option here would be to call Fire. And he couldn't... Whatever he takes, he can't do it. So he goes in and calls Fire. I'm just like... Yeah, that's fine. He's like, oh, man, wait. And I was like, oh, can you even call? Like, can you... Like, since Dark's already called, can you call Fire? Can they be two attributes at the same time? And I was like, yeah, I guess, yeah, you can call Fire. And he was sitting there. He's like, oh, dude. He's like, I think I goofed. Because he has, like, Fire in his hand to be able to extend. And I was like, oh, yeah, darn. That kind of sucks. But I mean, like, the other option, like, you take Long Wand, what does that do for you? The best option, like, again, the best option was Protoss, but, like, I don't know if, like, you call Fire. Maybe you just take Protoss, switch it to attack, and then whack over the Monk, and then I can bring back the Monk. Yeah, I don't know what the correct line was here. But I do know he does call Fire, and then, like... Yeah, that's what I'm just reading. I'm like, can you even call Fire? Because, like, if you can't call double attribute, there's nothing that says you can't. It's just once per turn, and it's a new turn. So, like, yeah. My turn, I call Dark. His turn, he calls Fire. So, for the remainder of his turn, neither player can special summon Dark or Fire. And then once he gets to his turn, neither player can summon Fires, which I'm not too worried about. But another thing is Protoss is coming back to me if he can't get rid of it. And I don't think he can because of... some of the Ryzeal cards. So he tries to go into Zeus, but he's locked in Darks because I called Dark on my turn. We catch that, luckily, so that you know, mistake doesn't happen. And I think he just ends up giving it here to me just because of the... There's, like, nothing, like, he really can do. He can attempt to special... Like, since he's already called Fire, he's locked himself out. So he's just trying to browse through all of his options. Always make sure, guys, always make sure to check all your options because you don't want to be stuck. You know, you don't want to, like, pass something and you could have done something different. But as we see here, he's going to try and play a little bit further. And he decides to go and activate talents. And he's like, I'm going to attempt to draw 2. And I was like, well, this Ash has been burning a hole in my hand. we'll just fling it here and hope it's, enough. So we fling here to stop him from that draw 2, which is like, which could have been anything. Again, arguably, maybe you should have held it for the detonator, but I feel like at this point, like when he called fire, when he called dark, like detonator's a fire, I'm pretty sure. And not detonator, a duo drives a fire, detonator's a light. So like in this scenario, I was like, well, he's not gonna be able to make that. He's already made his detonator. So like I was like, maybe it's a good time. Like, fling the dash, just let him have it. If he has something else, he has something else. You got me. He attempts to go into battle phase. He switches the Protoss to attack. And I think he just whacks over the monk. I believe that's the plan. Big old worm attacking over monk here. I do have a Shatana, which I decide to use. I can't destroy the Protoss, because Protoss can't be destroyed. But I can bring it back. And then during the end phase, Change of Heart gives me back my Protoss. So then my board, I'm starting out pretty good. So we just scoop it up here and we go on to the next game, because then that's what you're showing me is like I searched this and I called fire. It was a horrible, horrible call. But again, like hindsight's always 20/20 on what you do. So we end up getting this one just because I do believe it was just the misplay of calling fire. Fire definitely did not help him there at all. But anyway, we're going up into that all important game number 3 where Mitisurugi Ryzeal gets to go first, and I get to look at my hand and I have Fulwaros, Ash, Nib, Droplet, Emergence. And I think his hand's not that much better, actually. I think his hand is like Fulwaros, Ash, Imperm. Like he has no starters in his hand whatsoever. So he's like, what do you do, man? What do you do with this type of hand? And the answer is you do your best, right? So like he just passes it to me, and I'm just like, oh no, like I kind of wanted to get some draws out of this Fulwaros. So I end up drawing into Vessel. Vessel's like pretty good. I do make a pretty big misplay here. I think once I saw Vessel, I kind of lost track that I do have like the 1-card combo in the sense with like Taya. So he goes ahead and drops the Fulwaros, and I'm like, I'm just going to Ash the Fulwaros because I was like, I don't want to worry about it. He drops a second one, and I'm like, oh. So, wow. So double Fulwaros, that's crazy. So I got to do my best here. So I think that I try and go ahead and go Vessel's effect to go ahead and dump. And see, I'm thinking I need to dump a worm, and he ashes this. So like, if he doesn't have Imperm, I'm pretty off. But I think I misplay. I don't commit here, which is a huge mistake. I should have used Emergence, search Taya, normal Taya, banish the Emergence, and try to play from there. Like I don't know. So he ends up setting 2 and passes it over. I can't believe. I think in this moment I completely blink and forgot about the 1-card combo. Like this deck literally has one 1-card combo, and it's Emergence. Emergence into Taya is literally like combo. So I attempt to go ahead and use Emergence here to go ahead and add, and I believe I get to. I should go for Taya. Like I'm gonna be pretty upset if I don't get Taya. Or maybe I grab Moyi instead. Yeah, this is not smart for me. It looks like I have Nib, Fulwaros, Vishuda, and I mean it's okay because then I have like droplets set, so like I feel pretty confident. Like especially since he's not been able to get to a monster, that I will be able to get to something. But again, just not seeing. Oh no, I do go for Taya. Holy smokes! Am I gonna do it? Do I have a combo? Or do I change my mind for Mo? Dang it. Damn it, Charles. What are you doing, bud? We normally saw Moyi. Go ahead and use the effect we just reveal. Vishuda, he just straight up judgment. So pays half his life, which is okay for me. We go ahead and special summon the Vishuda from my hand. And then like we can just link off into Monk, I believe is the correct call. Or no, I think I summoned Vishuda and attack, and we poke for 15. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So he's paid 4,000, poke 15, he's taken 55. It definitely upsets me that I didn't do the Taya, but I think he does. That last card set is Imperm, and you know what I mean? Like, I'm not type. Like, the play would have aided Imperm anyway, but at least it would have been like the optimal play that way. So we end up passing over to him, and he draws for turn again, and I have Imperm and Fulwaros, so like, and plus a droplet set, so like, I'm feeling pretty confident, but he just scoops it up here. So anyway, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Charles from Team COG. You guys stay safe, stay healthy, and we're signing out here.